We just got ourselves some very interesting news regarding Solana. So if you're a Solana holder, make sure you press that like button, but let's get right into it. Solana investor sues project insiders, claims the network is highly centralized. This is a interesting one. So a California resident, Mark Young, alleges key players in the Solana ecosystem misled investors and sold them unregistered securities. This one is about to get very interesting because, well, we all know Solana, they basically traded off a lot of this decentralization for scalability. And we've obviously known that a lot of big investors got themselves early into Solana, which have been selling off like crazy. And that was also some of the appeal that we've also had for Algorand, for example, that there's major institutions backing this one. However, right now things are getting interesting as apparently a Solana investor has filed a class action lawsuit against key parties in the Solana ecosystem for allegedly making misleading statements and profiting from selling unregistered securities to retail customers. Now we have the official lawsuit document here, the entire 40 pages worth. The factual allegations are background of crypto assets and ICP's initial coin offering. Okay, we can look into that. Sol's genesis and public offerings. Control of Solana's blockchain network is highly centralized. Defendants sold and solicited the sales of Sol securities. Sol is a security. This one is the most interesting to us, specifically as XRP holders. This is interesting. And the plaintiff and other class members have suffered significant damages from defendants' actions. Actually, if you're an XRP holder, this is also going to be a very interesting one. Again, guys, for all the videos that I'm trying to make, I'm trying to get to 500 likes at least. If you guys can, make sure you press the like button on this video, just like freaking give it a stump. It is greatly appreciated and gets me more time to spend in the house, because as I said before, I'm not allowed back in the house unless I get 500 likes a day. All the silly jokes aside, John Deedon shared as well. I can tell you this with 100% certainty. If today's XRP is deemed a security by Judge Torres in the Southern District Court of New York, the amount of class action lawsuits that will be filed against the promoters of existing altcoins along with the exchanges will be unprecedented. Just in, Solana's key backers are accused of violating security laws and harming retail Sol traders to the benefit of insiders in a class action lawsuit filed last week. The thing is, it was filed before, but nobody knew about it. Right now, it's getting to the public all of a sudden. I mean, he's right. This is what some guy says, right? This is not official. He's right, but I bet he wouldn't have filed if he got rich, as well as the insiders. Good time to share this initial allocation chart. If the pink bit is over 30%, then the insiders got a heavy share, and you probably don't want to be an outsider. So this shows the public sale, community allocation, insiders, and foundations, and more. But from a certain perspective, insiders and foundation and more can kind of coincide because it depends on how the foundation is going to allocate those tokens. Same thing for community governed grant product pools. This is like kind of the same thing sometimes. Same thing for community allocations and insiders. These things can kind of coincide with one another. And then again, this is all like a relative. If you've been in the investment game for a little while, you all know that this can be shoveled around a little bit with, because even public sale, I mean, if you really want to, even a public sale could be a private sale, but I digress. Let's just go out from these numbers in the sense of this is how they had their initial tokenomics. So this is what they planned to do, not how they manipulated it to be. This is what they planned to do and what they said to the world. We're going to do it this way. Solana has the third highest number in this list. The only ones bigger are Flow and BNB. It's just for reference, because once more, even Quam here says it's disingenuous. It doesn't necessarily work, but it's about the initial tokenomics, I guess, that matters to them. At the end of the day, though, it's kind of funny how it's true. Like, the guy most likely just bought the top and right now is like, you know what, I lost money. Let me try to sue him, because what do I have to lose, right? At the end of the day, there's not really proper crypto laws over in the US, so suing is not that crazy. And at the end of the day, if the SEC didn't sue him just quite yet, you might be the start of it and now get yourself a ton of money if you are indeed right. So you apparently filed this the first of this month against Solana Labs or Solana Foundation, Solana CEO Antoli, crypto investment firm Multicoin Capital, and its co-founder Kal Samani, as well as trading platform Falcon X. Defendants made enormous profits through the sale of Sol securities to retail investors in the US, in violation of the registration provisions of federal and state security laws, and the investors have suffered enormous losses. These promotional efforts took Sol securities from a relatively obscure crypto asset to one of the top crypto assets in the world. They're talking here about how they promoted Sol. He's also talking about how it was misrepresented, talking about the outages and about the insiders and how much Sol they have, about the centralization. Because I'm personally a big Sol holder and I don't really care about the losses because I kind of believe in the project. I'm like, looking at it with a skeptical eye. You can kind of see where he's coming from, but it's also what gave it the appeal, right? Now, this individual, Let's quickly check it out here at the bottom. There's a couple of interesting things coming out. Young said Multicoin profited from offloading millions of sold tokens onto retail investors while using OTC trading desks like FalconX. And apparently they lost way more, or at least the price went down way more because of outages. Young's case was actually filed in California and is represented by Roche Friedman and Schneider Wallace. And apparently, that's what I was about to say just now, they also tried to sue a couple of others like Binance US and KuCoin, alleging execution of illegal trades or violation of security laws in relation to tokens such as the UST, EOS, and TRX as well. Wow, but apparently, in December, Roche Friedman also secured a $100 million verdict in a lawsuit against self-proclaimed Bitcoin creator Craig Wright. These guys are onto the big money, huh? They know what they're trying to do. Now again, to trace it back for a little second, take a look at what John said. When I filed the motion to intervene on behalf of the XP holders, I said not only should the exchanges not delist XRP, they should hire a lawyer to file their own motion to intervene, or alternatively, be allowed amicus status. You cannot underestimate the impact this case will have. The Ripple lawsuit indeed is also the center of this lawsuit again against Solana, because if XRP turns out to be a security, every single rule that was discussed in there will be relevant. So this guy went full detective mode, right? They went to look at all the tweets that were posted regarding the promotion of Solana, for example. Some guy said taking his Solana to the grave and a lot of this stuff. But here is officially when he starts to talk about why it's a security. And the thing is, he comes back to Howey test, which, once more, doesn't properly work for crypto. We have manifested that now with the Ripple SEC lawsuit. You can't really go about this too much. So he's basically, I'm looking at it now, explaining all the different prongs of Howey and exactly why it is security because of those reasons. And once more, in the Ripple v SEC lawsuit, they're trying to kind of re-describe Howey to fit crypto, which is again going to ultimately have a lot of effects on this. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out and whether or not it'll be thrown out quickly or whether or not it'll actually go all the way through. From some perspective, I'm thinking, well, it's not really easy to throw it out quickly, right? Unless there's something that I just read over because I'm not trying to read 40 pages to the depths that is just easily to throw it out with, where they could just say like, okay, even if all this is true, we still don't owe you anything. But really, with a motion to dismiss, I believe it was, but I don't really feel that happening. I think this will take a very long amount of time. But he's throwing up a lot of freaking dirt about the foundation and everything like that. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. All these numbers, it's going to get a lot of people asking questions. But the center of the question, is Solana a security, is a very, very difficult one if you ask me. Again, I personally think a lot of these cryptos which are called out for securities just don't make sense. Just calling out a token supply as being a reason for being centralized makes no sense to me either. I wonder also how FTX/Alameda Research is going to enter in all of this and kind of, talk about it. Same thing for Horowitz or Polychain. I kind of wonder what they're going to do with all this, whether they're just going to let it slide or, CoinShares. You have all the major capitals that we know and love, I guess. Even jump trading, huh? Terra. But I guess we will have to see. Alright guys, that was it for today's crypto video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. Just quickly covered the Solana lawsuit and what I could find about it. I don't have any conclusion just quite yet. I personally don't think Sol is a security. I'm still holding my Sol. I'm not going to sell it. But I wonder what's going to happen. Is like the SEC going to stomp on in and say, wait a minute, we want to sue them for money? Or are they going to let some other companies sue them? Or how is that going to work? Do you guys think this will be thrown out really quickly? Do you think it will go all the way through? Who do you think will win? Let me know down below in the comment section. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today.